The room fell silent when the boy spoke. The wealthy businessman sat stiffly in his chair, his dark glasses hiding eyes that had not seen the world in years. Doctors had tried everything. Specialists, surgeries, experimental treatments, nothing worked. He had lost hope long ago. But standing in front of him was a small boy with a worn backpack and nervous hands, the janitor's son. And with quiet confidence, the boy said something no one expected. "I know how to cure your blindness." Before we begin this powerful story, take a moment to support our channel. If stories about kindness, hope, and humanity touch your heart, please subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us continue bringing meaningful stories to life here on Kindness Lights. Now, let's begin. Daniel Whitmore had everything money could buy, except the one thing he wanted most. Sight. 5 years earlier, Daniel had been one of the most successful real estate developers in Chicago. His company built skyscrapers that touched the clouds and luxury homes that made headlines. But during a late-night drive home from a business meeting, everything changed. A truck ran a red light. The crash left Daniel alive, but the damage to his optic nerves was permanent. Doctors tried surgery after surgery, but eventually they gave him the truth he didn't want to hear. "You will never see again." At first, Daniel fought the diagnosis. He traveled to the best medical centers in the country. New York, Boston, Los Angeles. But every doctor gave him the same answer. Nothing could be done. Over time, the confident, powerful businessman became withdrawn and bitter. He rarely left his home anymore, a beautiful mansion that he could no longer see. Even the laughter of children playing outside irritated him. It reminded him of a world he had lost. Inside the house, only 2 people regularly saw him. His housekeeper, Maria, and the quiet janitor who cleaned the property every afternoon. The janitor's name was Carlos Ramirez. Carlos worked hard and kept mostly to himself. He had come to America years ago with little money but a big dream, to give his son a better life. His son, Mateo, was 10 years old. Mateo often waited for his father after school. Sometimes he sat quietly on the back steps doing homework while Carlos finished cleaning. One afternoon, something unusual happened. Daniel was sitting in the living room, tapping his cane against the floor impatiently. Maria had stepped out to run errands, and Carlos was vacuuming the hallway. Mateo stood nearby, watching the blind man curiously. He had never seen someone blind before. Daniel suddenly spoke. "Carlos, is someone else here?" Carlos stopped the vacuum. "Yes, sir. My son. He's waiting for me." There was a pause. Daniel sighed. "Tell him to stop staring." Mateo's eyes widened. "I'm sorry," he said softly. Carlos gently placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "Mateo, go sit outside." But before the boy moved, he asked something unexpected. "Sir, how did you become blind?" Carlos quickly whispered, "Mateo, that's not polite." But Daniel surprised them both. "It's all right," he said quietly. Then he explained the accident. Mateo listened carefully. Children have a way of asking questions adults are too afraid to ask. "So, the doctors can't fix it?" the boy asked. "No," Daniel replied. "They've tried everything." Mateo frowned. He looked thoughtful, the way children do when they are trying to solve a puzzle. Then he said the words that would change everything. "I know how to cure your blindness." Carlos nearly dropped the vacuum. "Mateo." Daniel raised an eyebrow behind his dark glasses. "Oh really?" he said, amused. Mateo nodded confidently. "Yes." Daniel leaned back slightly. "And how exactly would you do that?" The boy hesitated. "Well, maybe not with medicine." Daniel's smile faded slightly. "Then how?" Mateo took a small step closer. My grandma says people can be blind in two ways. Daniel listened. One kind is when your eyes don't work, Mateo continued. But the other kind is when your heart stops seeing. The room grew quiet. Carlos stood frozen. Daniel said nothing. Mateo went on. My grandma says kindness helps people see again. For the first time in years, Daniel felt something stir inside him. Not anger. Not frustration. But curiosity. He asked softly, and how does kindness fix blindness? Mateo shrugged. Well, you start helping people. Daniel almost laughed. I built half the city. I've donated millions. Mateo shook his head. That's not the same. Daniel's fingers tightened around his cane. What do you mean? Mateo answered in the most honest way only a child could. Donating money isn't the same as caring. Carlos quickly stepped in. I'm sorry, sir. He's just a child. But Daniel raised his hand. No, let him talk. Mateo looked relieved. My grandma volunteers at a hospital, he said. She says sometimes the sick people just